Alrighty, now we begin. So, in this video, it's about my Shabbat, or I should say Yahuwah's Shabbat, his Sabbath, that I messed up heavily on last week. Now, I'm not telling it. I was gonna say I'm not telling you guys not to do it, but I don't care. I don't care what people's opinions are. Do his Sabbath, man. Keep his laws. All right, please, please keep them. Especially if you are by covenant in blood his sons and daughters of Yasharel. I know religion likes to tell us not to, or we don't need to, and many other things. Oh, we're saved by grace and yada 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 yada. But what comes to my mind as I was thinking about telling you guys to say, what came to my mind was, um, he who teaches to follow and to do the commands will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. And he who tells men not to keep the commands will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. So that's what came to my head when I was just about to say to you guys, I'm not saying for you not to do it. You don't have to if you don't want to. Nah, screw that. Follow his commands, guys. You know, but I want to say this though. Make sure your heart is in the right place. So in the past, when I was trying to follow his commands, my heart was not in the right place. My mind was in the right place, but my heart wasn't. My mind had the mindset of obviously keeping it because that's what he wants. But my heart was still in it for righteousness. My heart was still focused on thinking that if I keep his commands, I will be deemed righteous in his eyes. Even though I knew in my mind, me keeping the commands is not what's going to deem me righteous in his eyes. Belief in his son is. But for some reason, these two weren't um, coordinating with one another, or what's the word I'm looking for? They wasn't working together, okay? They wasn't working together. So it wasn't until, the Most High used my cousin to help me really understand that lesson. I think probably a while back, I asked him to correct me, I think I asked him one more time to not correct me, but humble me. So he used my cousin, even though she's still into Christianity. You know, praise Yah, he gave me understanding and discernment. To see past all that. Even though she still uses the word Lord and God, I was still able to discern, the teaching, because I could see the Ruach Hakodesh working in her. She's not ready for those understandings like that I or the rest of us know of yet. And it's in his timing that he will reveal all those things to her. But for now, back to what I was talking about. So he used her to help humble me and really open my heart to the real understanding of love from his son and the teaching of what his son was trying to teach us. And it is about love. And some reason my heart really just couldn't get it. But it wasn't until, when she told me that stuff, and, I still had a hardened heart or ego, thinking I didn't have to listen to her and stuff like that. It took me like, what, a month after, maybe a few weeks after, I went and I think he humbled me after something else. Something else happened. And then I was just like, something I'm doing wrong. Something I'm doing wrong. Let me go back. Let me really get to know Yahusha. Let me really understand him. So then I started beginning in Matthew again. I think I'm on chapter 5 now. But then, sorry, I'm really all over the place. But before the Matthew, I I read Galatians. I think that's what she was sending. She sent me like months back, and then I just got into it last Last month, I got into it, and I read Galatians, and I was just like, as I was reading what Saul was saying, and then it hit me when he said that by Torah you would not be deemed righteous, and I was just like, I'm like, okay, so this is what she was trying to get to me. I was like, okay, okay, okay. And then he started talking about Yahusha and stuff like that. I think the end of chapter 3, maybe 4. I might be wrong, but I think he was saying that if the Torah was by righteousness, then Yahusha would have died for nothing. So I'm like, yo, I think I like shed a tear, or like I really felt it. Okay, so I got the point, and after that my ruach felt so much lighter, like I had a heavy burden or a rock on it. And praise Yah for it, because I think that's where he really uplifted my heart, and I realized, and I really got it now in my heart, that I'm not doing his law to be deemed righteous. I wasn't trying to do his law, and at that time I wasn't trying to do his law to be righteous in front of men. Maybe I was, who knows, but I in my mind I thought, or in my heart, I guess, I was just trying to be righteous for him. But now I've changed it to just doing his law, because Yahusha said, if you love me, you will guard my commands. Plain and simple. Let the word have the final say. He says if we want to love him, we will guard his commands. That's it. So now I am just trying my best to deny myself daily. Well, I need to do better. But each day, little by little, as my neighbor has said to me, you know, all he wants us to do is try. That's all he's looking for us, is to try. So I am trying, no matter how little it may be. Each day I'm trying a little bit better to guard his commands, in order to show him I love him. I'm just trying to show Yahuwah that I love him. I'm not trying to be righteous, nothing else. I just want to show him that I love him. That's all. So on his Shabbat last week, Friday, I kind of lost my mind getting through all this. I don't know if I even talked about his Shabbat in the beginning and how I messed up, but I guess I'll repeat it one more time. On his Shabbat last week, Friday, I think we're not supposed to buy or sell on his Shabbat, because when I just read this to my grandma too, and I don't mean to laugh, but for some reason it always I have a mental image in my head on what happened to that man in Numbers chapter 15 or 14, and it was about the man gathering sticks on the Shabbat, and obviously they went to Moses to talk about it, and then Moses went to Yahuwah, and then Yahuwah said to stone him. When I hear that part, I just stop laughing. But like soon when I just hear about the man gathering sticks, an image of me just sees an old man just collecting some sticks, and then three people are looking at each other like, "Yo, what? He's working. Yo, what should we do? Let's go to Moses." There's a whole scenario pops in my head on what happened. Like, how did that really just happen? But it's not funny. But for some reason, I keep making it seem to be funny. But I know how serious he ain't playing when it comes to his Sabbath. So I always got to lock in once I hear him say stone him, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, he ain't playing, man. So that's what kind of brings me now to my failure of my Shabbat on guarding it. When I not worked on it, but when I because there was many times, when I was working at the time and I had no choice but to work on his Shabbat. Obviously, when he knows we have to work on it to, earn our livings and stuff like that. If he know, like I guess I should say this now. He understands. We're not in our homeland. We're not in our homeland where we have the choice to not work on that day. He knows in this land that we are in, Babylon, whatever you want to call it, second Egypt. He knows that depending on the job we have or the workplace, if we can't get, that day off on a daily, like where we can ask our boss, like if they're understandable, like, yo, this certain days throughout this month I can't work because I'm guarding the Father's commands and blah blah blah. Obviously he knows the hearts, and he knows this is Yahweh we're talking about. He knows everything, okay? So I'm sure he understands, depending on where you work, he's going to be more merciful. Like, he knows that you can't keep taking off on certain days to guard his Shabbat. Like, because for me, when I couldn't work on it, he knew my heart was in the right place. Like, I was heartache and I was upset. Like, I'm like, dang, like, I would try sometimes, to let them know, yo, can I not, I need this week to not work this day, or I would try to switch with someone, but it didn't work. The point is, he knows that, we can't, we're not going to be able to guard his Shabbat all the time. But now that I'm not working, I have no excuse. So, um, yeah, I really have no excuse. So back to that. So when I was playing basketball last week, Friday, I've already had um, Metro North tickets, like the more expensive train. If y'all know what the Metro North is, I already had them on the app, like prior, and I thought when I activated those tickets, that's what made it consider me buying or selling, like exchange and stuff like that. But I don't think that was it. What screwed me up was that when I got off the Metro North and then I had to take the subway, the less expensive train, to the destination I was trying to get to play basketball. I put money on the Metro card to get through the train. And oh my goodness, the memories are kicking in right now. I'm starting to remember more things more clear. So once I put more money on the Metro card, he when I swiped the card, it kept saying like swipe again, swipe again, swipe again, and I'm like, yo, this doesn't happen. I'm like, what is going on? So then I went to another one and I swiped it, and it said insignificant fund, and it only costs us $2.90, but I had 520 on it, and now it's saying insignificant funds. I'm like, what? So I went to the lady and then I told her and stuff like that, and then she got the gate open for me, and then went on to play basketball. And I think just for a moment, a glimpse of the moment, I mean, a, a bit of the moment as that was happening. Now, consciously, I just didn't know. Consciously, I just didn't know. But in my ruach, I think I already knew. I think I just instinctively I already knew this is what I'm. These are my consequences for going against uh his commands, breaking his Shabbat to not buy or sell. So I kind of knew that. Well, not kind of. My ruach knew, obviously, but then I went to play basketball. Then I dislocated my pinky finger. Excuse me. dislocated my pinky finger. Um, those who play ball, I was going for a rebound. I was going for a steal off the catch, jumped in the air, and that thing, we both like, he barely touched me too. Like we're both colliding for the ball to get the ball, and then it just went, ah, and then I fell, and I was just like, just not crying, but just in pain and stuff like that. Someone relocated it or replaced it back in place and whatever. Then they taped me up, and the rest was history. I think that was my like, because then after that, the rest of my day was, or my night went perfectly smooth. I think that was just my what's what I'm looking for, my final um lesson, or my final discipline for going against the Most High. So up to that point, if I can sum it all up, I wanted to go to the city, and the first train I missed. The first train I missed because it said like I had 15 minutes, and I could have caught it, but I was like, I'm not running, bro. I'm not running for the catch a train. So I slept, woke up again, and then it said I have an hour to catch my train. I'm like, all right, bet. So I chilled, ate, um, read the word, and then next thing you know, then I went to shower, get dressed. Next thing you know, it's saying, boom, I got 15 minutes again. I'm like, ain't no way, bro. I'm like, an hour just passed by that quick. So I'm running to catch the train again. I'm getting multiple stops, multiple blockages of flow. Like I'm like, no way, I'm getting these stops. I'm like, there's something going on. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I'm like, is this the Most High, or is this the devil? No, I'm doing all this questioning and stuff like that. And now it pops in my head, and I'll keep this in mind now forever. When I do have those blockages, my neighbor always used to tell me, well, whenever I do see her, she'll always say, for Yahuwah is not the author of confusion. We know who is. So I was like, so now I'll keep that in mind. But now when I have those confusing moments, and I'm like, I'm trying to decide if, is this the Most High's doing, or is this, well, then again, nah, that wasn't Satan though. That was him stopping me from, I think that was the Most High. Yeah, it had to been. It had to been, because I was about to break. If I would have listened to those blockages, that was probably the Most High using the angels to stop me in my tracks before I was about to head to my own demise. But obviously, I didn't listen, because I wouldn't have dislocated my pinky. I wouldn't have messed up my leg again. Um, what else? The Metro card thing would have never happened. Many of things wouldn't have happened if I would have just stopped and thought to myself, maybe Yahweh is trying to tell me something. Maybe he's trying to tell me, don't break his Shabbat. But because I was trying to do my own will, because I wanted to play basketball so dearly, that's what happened. So yeah, I don't think that was Satan at all. Yeah, I kind of know now when it's the working of Satan, and and when it's him using his devices. In this case, it was definitely the Most High stopping me from, um, you know, breaking his command. So I think that's pretty much it. What I'm trying to get at, the point is, don't break his Shabbat, don't break his commandments, man. It's Yeah, he's going to discipline us. He's not gonna kill us. Obviously, he's not gonna slay us um for when we do go on our own will. He has mercy and grace, obviously, thanks to his son Yahusha. But at the end of the day, I'm thinking of now, just as Revelation says, and in some of these other extra scriptures, it is told that everything is being recorded. So obviously, he's giving us grace now, but at the end, who knows? Maybe that was our last um piece of grace or something like that. I'm not really saying. I'm just giving you a, not a figure of speech. Dang, I don't really how to really explain this, but the point is, it's all being written down. How many times we broke his commandments, how many times we followed his commandments, how many times we went against his will and to follow our own, how many times we denied ourselves and followed his will. That's the battle I'm struggling with now. I'm just always trying to fight against my own vices, my own self, when I want to follow in my will, and I have to just really stop myself and say, no, I need to follow him. Denying yourself is the hardest thing. It really is the hardest thing, especially in these times. You want to do the things you want to do, but Yah's tugging at you or telling you, no, I need you to do this, or stay here. Just continue reading this. And when I look at it now, I'm realizing, maybe I like to go out a lot because not a lot, not because I know, it's because I struggle to read his word like as if I'm in school. Like, I know I need to focus on just staying home, reading his word for hours on end, but the battle of sleepiness was always bothers me. And then when I'm reading his word, it comes to a point where it's just like it doesn't get foreign to me, but my comprehension, my brain starts to my absorbing of knowledge to his word just doesn't get it. Like, I'll just read, it could be the simplest thing I could be reading. Like, I could have read 12 pages, and then in that 13th one, it could be so simple. It could just tell me, don't eat bread for 12 days. I mean, for 7 days. And I'll just read it and I'm just like, what does he mean by this? I don't understand. Like, my once I like get to that part, I just want to like just let my brain reset, regather itself. So I want to go outside and stuff like that, which is no problem to it. But my problem is I just want to push my will. Like, I don't go outside to regather myself and then head back home to read his word. I go outside to do my own will and desires and then come back to him whenever I feel like doing it, when it needs to be, when he wants it. That's the hardest part about just me just trying to really do his will and follow in complete obedience. I just really lack that part of stopping myself from doing what I want to do and putting him forward. So it's not so much the world now. I'm hating the world more and more because this place just really sucks. But the only one that's stopping me now, it's me, and I gotta work on that heavily. So I think that's really what's going on for me at this moment in time, which I praise him deeply for that because he's given me so much time. Right now, it's been a month since I've been jobless again, and I see why he had to take me out of my workplace because I was falling so short on him. Like the situation on how I got um terminated, it makes so much sense to me because when I look at it now and how the situation's turned, it just didn't make sense. Like, I'd done this many of times and now all of a sudden things are happening. But when those happenings did come, it was because I was focused on him and reading his word. But then I let people in my workforce break me out of my focus with the Most High. So that's my own fault. At the end of the day, when I look at it like this. No one can take me out of anywhere unless the Most High allows it. So I see it like Yahuwah is the one that removed me from my workforce because I did not stay focused on him. But I started focusing more on my work and pleasing fellow man. So that's how I see it. And he gave me multiple times, to get fixed up on it and focus on him. And I did not. I let the amount of money that was coming to me, be my focus. I let the people around me become more my focus. Um, so yeah, and I was being very selfish with my money as well. And obviously, this is a humbling experience again to come back to having to struggle to find money or to obtain money, because then it brings me back to, my family on how, even though I have been completely selfish with it, when I fall back, my family's always there to pick me up. They're always there to help me, give me little bits of money, you know, to, just sustain myself until I get the next job. Then I try my best to repay him again. But then it comes to a certain point, as I'm working, I end up, just like, I want to use my money for myself. I'm tired of paying people back, blah, 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 blah. Like just selfishness of me. It's just selfishness. That's all. So I need to really enjoy this moment, to remembering to stay humble and knowing that who is always here to help me. So praise Yah. I'm thankful that, now I can use this time to really work on myself. And I mean to work on myself by breaking my old habits or just breaking myself down to not wanting to do the things I want to do, but what he desires for me to do. Making these videos definitely does help, I would say. It keeps me in line to just focus on him and reading his word. But yeah, oh man, it's getting dark. I gotta buy food before the evening really hits. So this video is probably way too long. Crap. To anyone who's listening to the end, I appreciate you. Thank you. Until next time, everyone have a great Shabbat. Stay blessed. Until next time, Shalom.